Battling the congestion crisis on Toronto's roads, the city provides an update on its plan to ease the gridlock and increase safety for road users. Good afternoon. Construction closures and traffic violations, the city says, all are contributing to major slowdowns on our roads.
City Hall staff outlining today how it plans to tackle ongoing congestion issues. CTV's Natalie Johnson is live at City Hall with more. Natalie.
Well, Nathan, officials acknowledge that construction is having a major impact on traffic in Toronto, and they are now rolling out a brand new strategy to address the challenges that have slowed down the city.
In a bid to crack down on the city's congestion crisis.
I really feel for the drivers.
If I'm driving, I'm either going early in the morning or late at night.
City Hall is looking to make what it calls systemic changes to the management of Toronto traffic.
We want to speed up the construction and have better coordination of all the constructions, shorten the street closure, improve enforcement against people who disregard the rules.
Among the changes proposed by staff, increasing the fine for stopping during rush hour from $190 to $300, increasing the fines for blocking the box to $450 or $500 in community safety zones, and explore a new congestion management levy for anyone occupying the road, sidewalk, or boulevard for the purposes of construction.
What we're trying to do right now is sort of a pull all levers approach to get them to use it as as infrequently and for as short duration as possible.
The city will also be asking the province for permission to bring in automated cameras to enforce blocking the box, blocking bike lanes, and more, including the possibility of using automated enforcement dash cams on city and transit vehicles.
When it comes to enforcement, automated enforcement is the ultimate sort of strategy piece.
The city has also established a strategic capital coordination office to better align capital projects and minimize conflicts, which officials insist will do a more comprehensive job than previous iterations of the office.
Our objectives are to better bundle these projects together so that we need only disrupt the roadway once to achieve multiple project outcomes. We're also sequencing these projects so that any one portion of roadway only needs to be torn up once.
I'm glad that the mayor is finally starting to address that, so I think that's positive. But I also saw that there's a lot of reliance on increasing taxes, increasing fees when it comes to road occupancy permits. And, that's sort of telling of the mayor's approach. It's always additional fees and taxes.
Torontonians stuck in traffic say congestion has never been worse.
Just avoid it at all costs.
Desperate to see anything that could get this city moving again.
The city is also hoping to better harness the use of artificial intelligence to mitigate traffic issues. All of this will certainly dominate a lot of discussion here at City Hall in the coming weeks, with council asked to approve this big picture congestion management strategy in October. Reporting live, I'm Natalie Johnson. Nathan, over to you.
All right. Thank you, Natalie. Now, this comes as we're following developing news out of Queen's Park that could have a major effect on city streets. A source confirms to CTV News the government is considering restricting the addition of bike lanes where lanes of vehicular traffic would be removed. This comes ahead of the introduction of a gridlock reduction bill expected to be introduced this fall. As cycling advocates question the reasoning behind the proposal, we have reaction from them as well as the province and more details on this story on CTV News at 5 and 6. And more transit woes are expected this weekend. The Gardiner Expressway is being shut down for maintenance starting tonight.
The impact of the closure will be compounded by TTC and GO train disruptions, making it a challenge getting in and out of downtown this weekend. CTV's Sean Leathong has reaction to what will be a big traffic upset. Sean.
Well, Michelle, it certainly will be. You can see the ongoing effects of the single lane closure on the Gardiner behind me, but what we're talking about, a complete closure at 11 o'clock tonight of the Gardiner Expressway until 10 o'clock on Sunday afternoon. The reason being for maintenance, cleaning, and inspections to ensure the long-term safety of the Gardiner Expressway. But it's a larger project that's going on with regards to closures within the city this weekend. So we talk about the Gardiner itself. That's obviously going to become a bit of a headache for any commuters trying to go in or out, but then also 2 GO train lines are going to be closed this weekend in certain parts. Now, the Barrie line will be closed for maintenance, track maintenance throughout the weekend, and the Lakeshore West GO line will be reduced to an hourly schedule. So that makes it difficult for people who are trying to seek another way in and out of the city. On top of that, when we look at the TTC, which is often a suggestion if you can't do the first 2, there's going to be sporadic closures throughout the city this weekend for subway, where buses will be taking taking over. We were speaking to some people who were planning on driving in and out of the city this weekend a little while ago, and here's what they had to say.
I mean, unless you're doing stuff where you kind of need to walk there or you're able to walk there, it definitely makes it tricky to plan the weekend. And if you do, you're definitely needing to account for extra time to commute.
We have a convention at the Enercare Center for the whole weekend. I did not know about the GO train or the subway. I don't know how they're going to get here. There's about 8,000 people that are supposed to come for the event. So I'm not sure. It's going to be very busy. And maybe they can't get here.
I'm in the city twice a week, and like I told you, I'm having to incorporate, I don't even know how many hours now into my day just to get around.
And for this weekend, completely closed.
Yeah, that's very bad. I don't even know how I'm going to make that work this weekend. It's going to be very difficult.
You have to work this weekend?
Yeah, I do.
You have to come here?
Yes, it's not going to be fun.
Now, when you talk about the closures on the Gardiner Expressway, they are going to be open as the work gets done, with a full opening coming Sunday at 10 o'clock in the morning. But the York Street on-ramp is expected to be closed until Monday at 5 a.m. as well. So people are asked to plan ahead. Reporting live, I'm Sean Leathong. I'll send it back inside.
A lot of planning will be necessary. Thank you, Sean. And he mentioned there will be some subway closures this weekend. If you're planning to take Line 1 tomorrow, there will be no service between York Mills and St. Clair stations to allow for planned track work. Then on Sunday, service on Line 2 will start late between St. George and Broadview stations. Trains will be operating by 11 a.m. rather than the typical start time of 8 a.m. Shuttle buses will run in both cases.
Still to come this noon hour, a new MPP is headed to Queen's Park. The PCs hold on to a seat in the Bay of Quinte. Who will be replacing Todd Smith? Last night's by-election results coming up. But first, a look at the forecast. Here's a live shot of the city. Another gorgeous-looking day this Friday, looking lovely. And the run of midsummer weather will continue, hopefully into the weekend. Jessica Smith is here with a look at the current conditions. Jess.
It has been beautiful over the entire week, and today is no exception. We hold on to high pressure and this ridge in the jet stream keeping us nice and warm. It ain't going nowhere. So it's a beautiful end to the week if you are getting off maybe a little bit early today to avoid some of the traffic. We are going to see sunshine start to finish as we head throughout our Friday. Temperature-wise, it's already pretty warm. We're sitting in the mid-20s, feeling into the upper 20s, low 30s, and we're looking at a fairly light easterly wind carrying us through our day today as we step in towards the weekend. Right now, through the islands, through Pearson, it's pretty comfortable, a little cooler the closer to the islands you get. Through Pearson, we're sitting at 25, but both sitting at 29 apiece for that humidex value. Heading into the afternoon, we will once again feel into the 30s, and stepping into the weekend, even with a bit of active weather likely to roll through parts of Ontario, it will stay nice. Coming up, I'll have a full look at your long-range forecast, including a return to more seasonal weather. But right now, it's back over to Michelle and Nathan.
Thank you, Jess. The search continues for a suspect wanted in connection with a deadly double shooting in North York on Tuesday.
Police appealing for help from the public to identify the man. CTV's Mike Walker has the details.
Flowers are left in the housing complex parking lot where two men were fatally shot. This is the suspect homicide investigators are now looking for. Police say he got into an altercation with the victims before bullets flew.
An altercation between three men escalated into an exchange of gunfire, resulting in the loss of 2 lives.
26-year-old Ibrahim Handule and 27-year-old Deshaun Walters were killed in the double shooting Tuesday afternoon at the housing complex near Jane and Driftwood. Police say neighborhood officers patrolling the area heard the gunshots and attempted to save their lives. One victim died at the scene. The other was rushed to hospital where he later died. Whether this suspect, who is believed to be 18 years old or in his early 20s, will be charged with one or both homicides is unknown at this point.
We cannot confirm whether this third individual was responsible for the death of Ibrahim or Deshaun, but we do know he was one of the shooters involved.
What led to the altercation also isn't clear. Investigators have recovered 2 firearms that they believe were used in the deadly double shooting, but did not say who may have fired them.
And we are working to determine the sequence of the events, including who fired which shots during the altercation.
Investigators say both victims have ties to the Driftwood community, an area police stepped up their presence in earlier this year amid concerns over escalating gun violence. In the wake of this latest double homicide, extra officers are now patrolling the neighborhood. A command post has been stationed here since Tuesday afternoon.
We're bringing officers in on overtime, and we're doing extra patrols in the neighborhood.
As investigators continue to canvass the area for witnesses and information to help them identify their suspect. Mike Walker, CTV News.
A man is in hospital with serious injuries after being struck by a vehicle in North York. This happened near Jane and Shepherd around 8:20 last night. Police say the male pedestrian was transported to hospital by emergency run with serious injuries. The driver of the vehicle involved remained on the scene.
And a motorcyclist was taken to hospital following a crash in Etobicoke. Police responded to the crash involving a motorcycle and a vehicle near Martin Grove and Eglinton just before 8:30 p.m. A man was taken to hospital with serious but non-life-threatening injuries. The investigation into the cause is ongoing.
And take a look at this scene overnight in the area of Rogers and Caledonia Roads. The driver of a red Toyota crashed through some shrubs on a property on McRoberts Avenue around 1 a.m. before hitting the front porch of a home. A man was taken into custody at the scene. He is facing impaired driving charges.
The Toronto District School Board is apologizing after students on a field trip ended up taking part in a rally where pro-Palestinian slogans were shouted. The board says an undisclosed number of students attended the Grassy Narrows River Run on Wednesday, organized to highlight mercury contamination within the First Nation. The TDSB says the event was intended to be educational, but videos on social media show some students taking part in the march and repeating a pro-Palestinian slogan. The board said it wasn't aware boards would engage with issues outside the main focus of the River Run, and it apologizes for the harm that some students may have experienced as a result. Ontario's Education Minister Jill Dunlop says she's deeply disappointed and called for a thorough review of the incident.
Tenants at 2 apartment buildings in North York who've been on a rent strike for nearly a year are celebrating a win over their corporate landlord. The Landlord and Tenant Board has issued an interim order forcing the landlord of 1440 and 1442 Lawrence Avenue to fix units in need of repair. More than 100 tenants have been withholding rent since last October in protest of rent increases and the state of the buildings. A final hearing to resolve the disputes has not yet been held.
There will be a new Progressive Conservative MPP headed to Queen's Park after a by-election in Eastern Ontario. Belleville City Councillor Tyler Alsop won the race in the riding of Bay of Quinte with just under 39% of the vote. The by-election was held to replace longtime PC MPP Todd Smith, who resigned last month to take on a role in the private sector. Another Belleville City Councillor, Sean Kelly, placed second for the Liberals with 33% of the vote. The NDP's Amanda Robertson placed third with 23%. The riding's been held by the Conservatives since it was formed in the 2018 election. And Premier Ford celebrated the results, saying the people of Bay of Quinte have sent a clear message tonight by electing a strong local champion. He also took aim at the Ontario Liberals, adding, "Congratulations, Tyler Alsop, and welcome to the team. Now let's get it done." Liberal leader Bonnie Crombie thanked candidate Sean Kelly, saying, "Thank you for fighting for people in the Bay of Quinte and showing the province that we can deliver more for them. I look forward to working together in the future to continue sharing your message that everyone deserves world-class care, from healthcare, make that, to education and everything in between." And the NDP's Merritt Stiles wrote of her party's candidate, "Thank you to Amanda Robertson and all of our volunteers for running such an inspiring campaign in Bay of Quinte. You built a strong foundation for change here, and I know this is just the beginning."
In the Middle East, Lebanese health officials say an Israeli strike killed at least 9 people and injured nearly 60 others in Beirut. Israel said the attack targeted a senior Hezbollah military official, but it isn't clear if he was killed. Yesterday, the Israelis say they struck hundreds of rocket launcher barrels in southern Lebanon. Hezbollah and Israel have exchanged near daily fire since the Gaza war began, but there is growing concern the conflict between the sides is intensifying.
Hours before today's attack in Beirut, Hezbollah pounded Israel with 140 rockets. Fire crews in Israel worked to extinguish blazes caused by pieces of debris that fell. Hezbollah said attacks targeted several sites along the border, including multiple air defense bases. The Israeli military didn't say if any targets were hit or if there were any casualties. Hezbollah said the attacks were in retaliation for Israeli strikes on villages and homes in southern Lebanon, not for the deadly mass attack this week using pagers and walkie-talkies belonging to the militant group.
Today in London, one of the alleged victims of Harrods owner Mohammed Al-Fayed breaks her silence about the abuse she says she suffered.
Unbeknownst to me, I had walked into a lion's den, a layer of cover-ups, deceit, lies, manipulation, humiliation, and gross sexual misconduct.
At least 35 women have come forward so far accusing Al-Fayed, who died last year, of constant and repetitive sexual abuse. CTV News has learned multiple Canadian women are among the growing list of alleged victims coming forward to say they were sexually assaulted or raped by Al-Fayed. CTV's Scott Hurst is standing by live with more on the situation. Scott, what more did we learn from the lawyers of the alleged victims?
Michelle, these are disturbing allegations dating back decades, and the scope is truly stunning. We're hearing from the survivors from all over the world, including the United States and Canada, as you mentioned. At least 3 women from Canada who allege they were sexually assaulted, some still as young as teenagers, 14 and 15 years old. Lawyers representing these dozens of women say this case and the allegations against Mohammed Al-Fayed are just as vile as sex offenders Jeffrey Epstein and Harvey Weinstein. Dozens of former employees who worked at London's iconic department store Harrods are accusing its late owner, Mohammed Al-Fayed, of rape and sexual assault. His alleged assaults, these incidents allegedly took place from London to Paris, Saint-Tropez to Abu Dhabi. They call him a monster who abused women and girls during his 25-year ownership of Harrods. But the lawyers who also allege Al-Fayed was enabled by the system. Here's more from the lawyers representing these women who are coming forward now.
This was not right. This should never have happened.
The grooming, sexual assaults and threatening behaviour were varied and plentiful.
Mohammed Al-Fayed was a monster. He was a monster.
And Michelle, more from that one victim who we heard from just before you came to me, named Natasha. She went on to say that Al-Fayed, in her words, was highly manipulative and preyed on the most vulnerable.
So what have we heard from Harrods, and what has reaction been to all of this?
Michelle, at this point, Harrods has released a statement as we're hearing from the lawyers for these women who are coming forward saying this is an abject failure of corporate responsibility and a failure to provide a safe system of work. So what we're hearing from Harrods is this, saying it is utterly appalled by the allegations of abuse perpetrated by Al-Fayed, saying they were actions of an individual who was intent on abusing his power. The company also acknowledged that it failed its employees who were the victims, adding, quote, "For this, we sincerely apologize." However, from these attorneys, that is far from enough, representing the women who've come forward, saying their aim is to seek justice for these survivors and that Harrods needs to accept full responsibility and that they have full culpability. Michelle.
CTV's Scott Hurst reporting live for us in the CTV National Newsroom. Thank you, Scott.
Thanks, Michelle.
Jess.
As we step through the rest of our Friday afternoon, holding on to a decent amount of sunshine. So if you did want to get out and get some fresh air, it'll be a beautiful day to do so. The UV index on the high side, though, at a 6, so sun protection and hydration really important to spend some time outside. A light easterly wind carries us through our day today, and as we step into the weekend, even with a little active weather on the way, it won't cool things down just yet. Coming up, I'll have a full look at your long-range forecast as we get ready to step in towards the weekend, the start to the fall season, and then towards the end of September. We had beautiful sunshine this morning. The sunrise obviously happening a little later in the day this time of year, but it really didn't do anything to make it less beautiful as we make our way through the start of our Friday. Fantastic if you're an early riser getting to catch that sunrise. Temperature-wise, we are beautiful. Once again, above seasonal once again. So if you've enjoyed this warmer start to the fall season, there's more of it as we head throughout the day today. Stepping in towards the fall equinox, when the Earth's position in the relation to the sun starts to shift, we will see a bit of a transition start to take place. But for now, it is still really nice. Warm through northern Ontario, southern Ontario, eastern Ontario, western Ontario. We're all kind of in that mid-20 range, feeling into the upper 20s, low 30s. Today will sit around 26. It'll feel again into that kind of 30-degree range when you factor in the humidex, and it's the same almost everywhere. 25, 26, a little warmer through Goderich, but overall we're kind of all very similar within a degree or two in southern Ontario. Tonight here in the city, we do hold on to a decent amount of warmth, so if you have outdoor plans, maybe you're going to go to the Argos game, you're going to head out to one of the many festivals we still have going on this time of year, it'll be a beautiful evening to do so, or to barbecue, play baseball, whatever sparks joy. As we head in towards the start of our weekend, though, things do get a little unsettled, but it's not a wash of a weekend by any means. So if you have outdoor plans, you don't have to cancel them depending on what it is. As we head throughout the rest of our day, high pressure moves out slowly. We'll see the system start to push in. It comes with heavier showers in central northern Ontario. For us in the GTA, it comes more in the way of passing showers. So as we kind of step through the rest of our day today, just a little bit of cloud cover rolls in through the afternoon and early evening. We do get some clearing overnight, and there is sunshine on the way to start our Saturday. The rain begins in northern Ontario. In the GTA, very spotty in nature. It falls honestly more as cloud cover, but if you're traveling a little further east or west of the city, say towards Hamilton, you are going to see a few showers. We could see potentially a passing shower through kind of the central and west end of the city as we head into the early evening. If it comes to fruition at all, very light and very brief in nature, and then it's gone, and we have a fantastic end to our Saturday night. Getting in towards Sunday, a little bit of cloud cover out there to start the day. It pushes out, and then we settle into a bit of a trend. Right now, focusing on our Friday, beautiful outside, feeling into the 30s. Saturday, again, around 21. It'll feel kind of in the mid to upper 20s. We do see the chance of maybe a passing shower late afternoon, early evening, and then it's gone as we head into our Saturday night. Lots of sunshine to welcome in the fall season as we step in towards our Sunday. And then getting in towards Monday, we start a bit of a trend on the opposite end of the spectrum. Less sunny, a little cooler, but this is only going to last for a couple of days. We do have spotty showers. It's not going to rain all day, every day, but we do have a system kind of sitting over us that will just bring some unsettled weather from our Monday right through to about Wednesday. A lot of that tapers off as we head in towards the end of next week, so we will kind of tiptoe into the end of September a little unsettled, but overall it is fantastic. So if you like the warmer fall weather, you have it this weekend. If you like that kind of cool, dark, rainy weather, we have that for a couple of days next week. There is something for everybody. Michelle, Nathan, I'll send things back over to you.
Thanks, Jess. In sports, the Toronto Blue Jays were looking to avoid the series sweep when they took on the Texas Rangers yesterday afternoon.
Guerrero, Horwitz, and Schneider due up here in the seventh. As Guerrero gets one in the air, deep down the left field line, and gone.
The Jays took a 3-0 lead, thanks in part to Vladimir Guerrero Jr.'s 29th home run of the season. He would then get his 30th in the 9th inning, leading Toronto to a 4-0 shutout of the Rangers. The Jays begin a 3-game series in Tampa Bay against the Rays tonight. The game gets underway just before 7.
The Los Angeles Dodgers' Shohei Ohtani has made MLB history, becoming the first MLB player to hit 50 home runs and steal 50 bases in the same season.
On a 1-2, Ohtani sends one in the air, the other way, back it goes, gone!
The Japanese superstar hit his record-clinching 50th home run in Miami to become the only member of the 50-50 club. Ohtani entered the game with 48 home runs and 49 stolen bases. But after a game for the ages, he wrapped the night with 51 home runs and 51 stolen bases, including 10 RBIs.
Impressive. A historic movie theater in the Annex will reopen on a limited basis. The Hot Docs Ted Rogers Cinema will open for third-party rentals and select partner screening events later this month. This is happening as beleaguered Hot Docs Film Festival continues to search for a new leader for the Doc Festival. The theater was closed in May due to urgent financial challenges.
Nelly Furtado's new album comes out today, and it's taking her pop music to a different level.
I can tell it from your mouth that you're real good at working with your mouth. And
the album features from Wonder Girl, Tynomi Banks, Dom Dolla, S.G. Lewis, and Charlotte Day Wilson. Critics are calling the album fresh for a new generation while showing her wide-ranging vocals. 7 is out today on all streaming platforms.
As Taylor Swift fans scour the internet for tickets to her upcoming Toronto shows, they're also booking accommodations.
I'll be your host this evening. My name is Taylor, and welcome to the Eras Tour.
Here's further proof of her popularity. Airbnb says Toronto has seen a 450% surge in searches for stays during Swift's stretch of shows at the Rogers Centre in November. That's compared to the same period last year. Booking numbers were highest among visitors from Calgary, Winnipeg, Montreal, Edmonton, and Ottawa. Meanwhile, Toronto is the biggest source of Airbnb demand for Swift shows in Vancouver.
And it's exciting news to share with you if you are a Metallica fan. The Rockers are extending their M72 World Tour into a third year with plans to hit North America next spring. Toronto will get what the band calls a no-repeat weekend in April with 2 different set lists and support lineups.
Coming up, a child with extensive experience having to isolate at sick kids ahead of a major procedure is helping the hospital improve its isolation units. Details after the break. The parents of a teenager who died after allegedly consuming the poisonous products of a Mississauga man are suing him, as well as several doctors involved in her care. They say Yesenia Bedoya Lopez was repeatedly discharged from South Lake Hospital without proper psychiatric treatment. It was after that she ordered the product from Kenneth Law. She died on September 10th of 2022. Bedoya Lopez is among the 14 Ontarians Kenneth Law is accused of killing in criminal court. A hearing in that case is expected today. Law has said he will plead not guilty.
Imagine spending 100 days in a small room with not even a bathroom or shower. That's what patients waiting for a bone marrow transplant must do.
Here's our health reporter Pauline Chan on one effort to make those 100 days more comfortable.
That's our back wall. That luxurious little element is my bed.
6 years ago, Ava Hainschwang, then age 10, had to spend 100 days in an isolation room to prepare for a bone marrow transplant as treatment for her leukemia.
And it was to keep me safe and away from infection so I could actually, the bone marrow transplant would take.
Ava's parents would take turns staying with her for 3 days at a time.
I would do tally marks every day that I was there till I got out. Lots of coloring, lots of crafts.
And not seeing her younger brother Cohen, who was her bone marrow donor, was the hardest part.
She had been so positive through the whole thing, and to see her lose her spirit, it was really challenging.
There's barely enough room for an IV pole, so there's not even a bathroom. So I had to use called a commode. It's basically a wheelchair that you go to the bathroom in.
Realtor Sherry Dabier has family that went through the same situation.
Knowing that what people go through in these rooms, that they're not the greatest to stay for families, so we decided to move forward with this.
This is a fundraiser, BMT versus 100 Days, organized by the real estate community to build new isolation rooms at the Hospital for Sick Children.
It was pretty much Ava that decided she wanted to be an ambassador and sort of give back as much as she can and raise awareness and funds.
They've already completed one room of the 15 on the wing.
Eventually, we'd like to, I know they're talking about updating the ventilation on the ward as well so that the patients can actually leave their rooms and move around.
Ava's parents say the treatment they received was terrific, and having more comfortable surroundings just helps the patients and families feel better during a challenging time. Pauline Chan, CTV News.
A new report suggests rising cancer rates among adults under 50 could be driven in part by increases in alcohol consumption. The findings were shared by the American Association for Cancer Research. The report says the overall death rate for cancer dropped 33% between 1991 to 2021. But that figure comes with some exceptions. Those include a rise in early onset colorectal cancer, in part because of excessive alcohol consumption. Other conditions linked to higher levels of alcohol intake include types of neck, liver, stomach, head, and breast cancers.
Sick Kids has been recognized as one of the top 2 children's hospitals on the planet in a new ranking. Newsweek and Statista compiled data on hundreds of hospitals, including responses from tens of thousands of medical professionals on their areas of expertise. In the pediatrics category, Sick Kids ranked second in the world for the 2025 summary, just behind Boston Children's Hospital. Sick Kids said the result is a testament to the dedication, expertise, excellence, and drive of its staff. The hospital has placed in the top 2 spots for 4 years in a row. A two-wheeled trek to raise awareness about the benefits of exercise for people with Parkinson's disease is rolling through Ontario.
It's a condition that can sometimes be isolating, but participants say they're on a mission to change that. CTV's Krista Simpson has more.
All of these cyclists have Parkinson's disease.
I was diagnosed 11 years ago.
They're part of Spinning Wheels Relay to End Parkinson's. Teams take part in different routes across Canada.
I've ridden, it's coming up to 12,000 kilometers so far.
The goal to connect with people with Parkinson's and encourage them to exercise.
We're trying to enliven and collect these voices.
This stop in the journey, the University of Guelph, to meet with Associate Professor Philip Miller and members of his research team. Miller has studied the benefits of exercise for people with Parkinson's. Steve Eisman, who calls Toronto home, has been one of his case studies.
Exercise is medicine.
Miller's most recent study found that shorter, more intense exercise was just as beneficial as longer stints for people with Parkinson's.
Both groups had about a 25% improvement in their motor symptoms, so a very significant improvement in their quality of life.
Improvements Eisman too has experienced.
When I'm on a bike, my symptoms seem to vanish, and I feel great.
Cycling changed my life.
Toronto resident Lee Jung took up riding 3 years ago. Being on her bike brings joy.
With Parkinson's, many people retreat from their life. They retreat from the social interactions. They don't work anymore. They don't really engage with people anymore. But with cycling, it opened my world.
From here, the cyclists will continue their journey through Ontario, ending in Ottawa on September 28th, a little more than a week from now. Sharing their stories along the way in hopes others will be inspired to move.
The more I cycle, the more I love it. It just feels free, so free on the bike.
I have enjoyed every second when I'm in the saddle.
Krista Simpson, CTV News, Guelph.
Still to come, a downturn for Canadian and U.S. stocks in early trading today. Details and the rest of your business headlines after the break.
Get Toronto's top stories, breaking news alerts, and watch live. Download the CTV News app.
Canadian and U.S. stocks fell in early trading after hitting record highs yesterday. Andrew Bell of BNN Bloomberg brings us the latest in business.
Hello there. Here are your business headlines. Stocks slipped this morning with Toronto down about 0.5% following some weak U.S. earnings reports. FedEx plunged 15% after profit missed estimates. Toronto's composite index and the S&P 500 hit record highs yesterday, spurred by the big 0.5 percentage point interest rate cut by the Federal Reserve. Constellation Energy, owner of the shuttered 3 Mile Island nuclear plant in Pennsylvania, will invest $1.6 billion US to revive the facility and sell the output to Microsoft for data centers. One of 3 Mile's 2 units permanently closed almost half a century ago after the worst ever U.S. nuclear accident. Constellation is planning to reopen the other reactor. Uranium stocks rose in Toronto. And finally, Nike shares gained 6%. The company is parting with CEO John Donohue, who will be replaced by company veteran Elliott Hill. He left Nike in 2020. Nike stock has dropped by half since 2021, amid concerns that the company has lost its mojo with consumers. That's the latest in business. I'm Andrew Bell of BNN Bloomberg.
The governor of the Bank of Canada says there's a lot of uncertainty around how artificial intelligence could affect the economy moving forward. Speaking today, Tiff Macklem said the central bank is approaching the issue cautiously to try and get a better understanding of how AI might affect its goal of keeping inflation low and stable. The governor said right now investment in the technology is adding to demand and could be inflationary. In the longer term, however, he said it remains to be seen whether AI increases labor productivity and boosts living standards or displaces more jobs than it creates and reduces competition. Macklem said it was up to academics and businesses to work together to examine the potential impacts on the economy.
Netflix is sharing some details on its viewership levels for the first half of the year. The streaming service says subscribers around the world watched 94 billion hours worth of its content between January and June, with strong showings for series produced in the UK like Bridgerton and Baby Reindeer. Content that was not in the English language made up nearly a third of all viewing time on Netflix. According to Deadline, CEO Ted Sarandos told a London audience this week that Netflix will report subscriber counts less frequently starting next year. But right now, that total stands at 280 million globally. The insurance industry had to pay out more than $1.5 billion due to auto theft last year, and it's driving up costs for everyone.
Depending on the kind of vehicle you drive, you could see your insurance premiums more than double unless you install an anti-theft device. CTV's Pat Foran has more on Consumer Alert.
I find it unfair. I find it excessive.
Cliff Whiting of Ancaster has a 2020 Toyota Highlander. He was shocked when his insurance company, CAA, told him he must install an anti-theft device, and if he doesn't, he'll have to pay a high theft risk surcharge of $1,500 a year. Whiting says he's never made a claim, and the surcharge would more than double his premiums.
I just have a hard time with a 144% increase when nothing's happened.
CAA told CTV News its customers can reduce or eliminate the surcharge by implementing additional layers of protection, such as the professional installation of an aftermarket immobilizer or installing and using a steering wheel lock like the Club. Many insurance companies are adding surcharges to vehicles at higher risk of being stolen.
They're introducing them on vehicles that are newer, 2019 to 2024. So if your consumer, for example, had bought a 2017 Highlander, they very likely wouldn't have been subject to that additional $1,500 surcharge.
Rates.ca says one way to save money on insurance is to drive an older vehicle. The Dodge Ram is also considered a target for thieves. The 2024 Dodge Ram is 61% more expensive to insure than the 2018 model. You can also save money on insurance by choosing a vehicle that's not considered at high risk for theft. The 2024 Volkswagen Jetta is only 6% more expensive to insure than the 2018 model. You should check a vehicle's insurance rates before you buy, and if you're facing increases, you can shop around.
There are a lot of insurance companies that aren't surcharging these models or levying these surcharges that might require you to get an immobilizer or whatever the case may be.
In Whiting's case, he's able to reduce the surcharge by $500 by using a steering wheel lock, but he hasn't decided if he will spend up to $1,500 more on an anti-theft system to try and avoid the surcharge completely. Pat Foran, CTV News.
As residents face a frustrating weekend in terms of getting around the city, the province is announcing a major transit milestone. The Ministry of Transportation says construction is now complete on all stations and stops of the Finch West LRT. The line spans 18 stops in total from Humber College Station to Finch West, where it will connect with the Line 1 subway. It will also offer connections to GO Transit and local transit services in Mississauga, York Region, and Brampton.
When it opens, this line will bring faster, more reliable transit for commuters in Rexdale, Jane and Finch, Humber River, Black Creek, and across the northwest part of our city. They deserve the same access to quality transit as those in the downtown core. This line will bring 230,000 people within walking distance of world-class public transit.
Metrolink says there's still some work ahead before the Finch LRT can start accepting passengers. That will include testing and commissioning efforts like TTC operator training. Well, if you still carry change, you'll want to check it for a special coin highlighting the 100th anniversary of the Royal Canadian Air Force.
The Royal Canadian Mint unveiling the new toonie, which is now in circulation. CTV's Peter Sperling shows us what it looks like and where you can get it.
This is an all-new toonie. As the Royal Canadian Air Force marks 100 years, the Royal Canadian Mint is issuing a brand new $2 coin.
I think it's really beautiful. I'm glad that something's being done to commemorate the 100th year of the Royal Canadian Air Force.
Christina Prokuda, visiting from Edmonton, getting a first look.
I think it's really beautiful and colorful. It's nice when you do get some change with some color on it and a nod to our history.
The coin unveiled this week at 17 Wing Canadian Forces Base, Winnipeg.
If you love planes, this is the coin for you.
The design depicts stylized RCAF aircraft that have played key training and security roles in Canada and around the world, with a C-130 Hercules at the core.
It's really a question of showing the long and broad history of the RCAF and how it's served Canada for all these years.
And collectors want a piece.
I saw the new tuning online. Yeah? Thought I'd come by and pick one up.
And what do you think?
It's pretty cool.
Jesse McRae at the Mint's Boutique buying a special limited edition roll.
Buying rolls for a few years now, so whatever new ones come out, I buy the full roll.
The new coin comes in both a colored version. There will be 2 million of those and 1 million of non-colored.
This coin is in circulation, meaning you may end up getting it back as a part of your change. And if you are lucky to find it that way, many want to hang on to it.
Oh, for sure. I definitely keep it. I love the colors, like how it's different tones of blue. And the detail.
I'd want to keep it for sure. Oh, yeah.
If you'd like to get one of these new toonies, the Mint will be holding special exchange days in October. Peter Sperling, CTV News.
SpaceX is flying high, launching another batch of Starlink satellites into orbit today.
4, 3, 2, 1. Ignition.
A Falcon 9 rocket blasted off from the Vandenberg Space Force Base in California shortly before 10 o'clock this morning. It was carrying 20 satellites, adding to the more than 7,000 already deployed for Starlink. The system provides internet service to customers around the world.
Coming up, a family dog is being recognized as a hero after springing to action and saving his owner's life. That story after the break. A dog in the community of Bonfield, southeast of North Bay, is being hailed as a hero.
The Husky Retriever mix sprang into action, helping to save his owner's life during a heart attack. CTV's Eric Tashner has the details.
What a good boy you are.
They say a dog is a man's best friend. In the case of Darren Cropper, his 3-year-old Siberian Husky Golden Retriever mix, named Bear, is his.
He's loyal to all end.
On a quiet night in August 2022, around 4 in the morning, Bear woke up Darren's son and his wife, Janice, by pouncing on her and howling in her ear. She noticed Darren wasn't in bed.
I got up. I thought maybe he was having a coffee sitting down here watching TV.
So she rushed downstairs following Bear's fast paws to find him unconscious on the floor.
I came down and the dog had jumped over the couch and onto Darren. And I said, holy crap.
Janice dialed 911 and Darren was rushed to hospital. Doctors determined he suffered a widowmaker heart attack.
I remember coming downstairs and I hit the bottom step. And when I hit, I hit the bottom step, and when I hit that, that's all I remember.
The family says that when Darren fell, Bear instinctively jumped on his chest, acting as a basic form of CPR, the entire time he was unconscious before going upstairs to get help.
Like, I remember when I came around that he was on my chest. And he wasn't even trained to do that, he just did it.
Darren had to immediately undergo triple bypass surgery in Sudbury, and it took him a full year of recovery to return to normal life. Now, Bear has been inducted into the 2024 Purina Animal Hall of Fame.
When I first saw him when I got home, he came right to me and jumped in my arms, and I just broke down crying.
Due to Bear's heroic actions, Darren is alive and well today, proving heroes come in all shapes and sizes, even ones with 4 legs and a wagging tail.
If it wasn't for him, everything would be a lot different.
Eric Tashner, CTV News, Bonfield.
To hand it to those dogs. They're amazing.
Treats for life. Yeah, absolutely.
And a great day to get out with your dog if they're saving your life or just taking you for a walk. It's going to be beautiful out there. We really haven't changed much with our forecast over the past couple of days, and that continues as we head into at least the beginning of our weekend. Temperature-wise, as we step into our afternoon, it will be beautiful, a little warm. We're keeping an eye on that system kind of making its way across northern Ontario. The tail end of that likely to sweep through parts of southern Ontario tomorrow. By no means a wash, but a good idea to keep that umbrella handy midday. Today, nice, dry, sunny, and warm. 25, feeling like 29 right now, and we're kind of holding on in that mid-20 range right across the board. As we head in towards our weekend, again, a few midday showers on Saturday, but it will not rain on your parade. And then as we head into Sunday, even sunnier.
All right. Thank you, Jess. And that is CTV News at noon. Remember, you can get Toronto's breaking news all day long on CP24 and at our website, ctvnewstoronto.ca.
For Jessica Smith and all of us here at CTV News, thanks for watching. Have a wonderful afternoon. I'm Michelle Dubé.
And I'm Nathan Downer. Be sure to join us later for CTV News at 5 and 6. Have a great day.